Now I'm not even sure if this is going live because the internet keeps playing up in technology. Oh, I'm kind of frozen, but is it actually working? Let's find out. This is a very interesting moment of, yes, looks like I might be, I might not be. Am I live? Yay! I am live. I'm here. Yes, I can see. And hello, first viewer, whoever you are. Oh, there's people coming on all over the place. So for those of you who haven't, I'm just going to, sorry, because of all the technology and issues a moment ago, I've kind of had to move myself, so I should move myself back again. Wow, that was an exciting moment of Wi-Fi, or not Wi-Fi, as the case may be, to Wi-Fi or not to Wi-Fi, that is the question. So, yeah, just give me a moment whilst I check on something else and join over, because I know it takes a while for people to actually see that it's gone live. But yeah, come and join us. Make sure that you let me know who's here. Say hi. Have your questions, or just join in and listen. You can use obviously the likes or the hearts or the cries or the halars, even ahas, ha-has. You know what I mean. It's obviously going to be one of those broadcasts which is quite funny. Talk about doing something raw and seeing what comes of it. I'm looking down here because I'm seeing as if anything comes up. I'm also, because I wasn't fully prepared when it did go live the second time, and unfortunately what I do have behind me is my computer trying to show me whether I am or whether I'm not live, which is really useful, but slightly off-putting at the moment. So let's leave this and get going. Now I can see that people are popping in and joining as we go along. So please do make sure that you say hi, invite your friends along, have your questions ready, and yeah, let's have this as a conversation. The whole point of this is to have a conversation in this community, to be able to support others as well as connect with others who have confidence challenges. Now, for those of you who may or may not know me, my name is Jules Wyman, and I'm broadcasting to you live from the office here in New York. And you can probably will be able to hear a bit of background noise because I'm very blessed to have an office which is on one of the main tourist streets in New York, and with it still being school holidays a little bit, we've got ghost tours going on, we've got kids doing sweet shop hunts, and there's a whole gaggle of them out there having fun. Thankfully the Morris dancers aren't there this evening, otherwise it really would have been a very different call. So the last confidence question time that I did a couple of weeks ago was really interesting to see what people are, where people are at, what they are experiencing, what's happening for them, and had so many questions coming in and people looking at the different aspects of confidence, because from my perspective, as you can see, that confidence isn't just a one video fix. It's not a one book fix. It's not possible for it to be done something just changed immediately overnight, because we have got so many other things going on for us. So there are kind of like three things that I want to cover this evening with you, and for those of you who are joining as we go along, hi there, say hi, let me know who you are. It's always lovely to welcome those people. I know that there are some internet connections my side, so if it does drop off in any way, then please hold caller and I will be with you as soon as possible. But it's always lovely to know who's on and sort of like what your thoughts are about confidence as well. So what I'm going to do is I would like to I've moved my papers during the Wi-Fi debacle. What I would love to go through this evening is what confidence is in, and more specifically actually what confidence is to you. So I would love to have that kind of conversation and see where that leads us. And also I've had a few questions come in from people who can't make it live, so I'd like to honour them, and thank you for the likes. I'd like to honour them with answering their questions as well. And for anybody else, as you're listening to me talk, and if you've got any other questions that pop up as we go along, then please do put them below and say hi. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hi Rob, let me know what your thoughts are with regards to this big chunky topic of confidence. So this chunky topic is something that inspires me, infuriates me, lights me up. The only reason it infuriates me is because there are so many myths out there around it, and so many people have different understandings, which the majority of those understandings can actually be hindering their confidence. So before I kind of really go into asking you or talking about confidence, what I want to do is actually ask you to think about, whether you're watching this live right now or whether you're watching it on the replay, I want to ask you what you think about confidence. What does it mean to you? How does it impact you? What is your relationship to it? Now, as I'm asking you those questions, you can write your answers below. That would be fantastic. But nonetheless, you'll be ruminating about them, I'm sure, and be thinking about what confidence really is for you. And it's an interesting way of looking at things, because I know that one of my personal breakthroughs was recognizing that actually I didn't understand confidence, but two, I had a real aversion to confidence, because I was worried that, my perception of confident people wasn't necessarily pleasant, because I had made the assumption that confident people were loud, were boastful, center of attention, they were arrogant, they were needy, I could go on with the list of all these different things that people, in my view, I'm not saying it's the truth, in my view, that's what I had associated with confidence. And actually, that was to do with my misunderstandings, my confusion about the topic. So what does it mean to you? Let me put the question in a really succinct way. What is your relationship to confidence? What is your relationship to confidence? And if that's not an easy one for you to immediately answer, think about, what are your views? What do you think of confident people? If you see somebody, I know for me, the person who I could be in a kind of classroom situation, for example, and the person who put their hand up often and either gave an answer or asked a question, to me, I'd be like, one, I'd think they were confident, but two, I would think, God, I wish they'd just shut up. Who do they think they are? And I'd have those kinds of thoughts. I'd also think that somebody who was able to walk into a room and kind of not care about what other people thought, whilst I might perceive them as confident and want to have what they have, I would still also have some kind of resistance there. I'd still feel kind of uncomfortable around it. So one of the things that I needed to look at and needed to work through for myself and understand was, what is my relationship to confidence? How do I interact with it? How am I communicating about it? So, as I say, if you want to put your answers down there, I know that my connection even on the internet is dipping in and out, so I can see the numbers are fluctuating, but do say hi, give me a thumbs up or a heart or tears or whatever you want to do, and give me your thoughts, your insights. What is your relationship to confidence? And whilst you're thinking about that, I want you to also think about what you believe it really is. What do you believe confidence really is? And again, that kind of question stemmed out of actually a conversation I had with this afternoon with a client who had built up this whole framework of what she believed confidence is. And therefore, she's got all these rules over here of what confidence is, and then the rules of who and how she is over here. And it was a little bit like never the twain shall meet. The two were, in her mind, in such a conflict. They were so different that how on earth could she possibly match those things up? So just by changing her beliefs and understandings around confidence, actually that brought her more in alignment with what confidence really is and what's going on there. Hi Leanne, oh, checking in Portugal. Portugal, I've never been, but I've got friends who live in Portugal, so maybe I'll come next time with you, Leanne. If you can't stay for the whole session, then that's absolutely fine. You can always come back, and the length of the session is going to depend on the questions and the interaction anyway. As I say, I've got some questions that people have already sent in. My guess is it could be about 15 minutes, but going by the one the other week, it went up to 40 minutes, so who knows. But welcome along. It's great to have you here. So we know we're spanning the globe already. How cool is that? So when you can understand and get clarity on what you perceive your relationship is around confidence, and also what your beliefs are around confidence, you can kind of see whether you're making it difficult or easy for yourself to actually access something which I believe is already there. I don't believe it's something that you've got to learn to orchestrate or something that you've got to force into existence, actually. Confidence, as far as I believe, is always there. It's about those beliefs and that relationship and thoughts and all sorts of other stuff that we have that can get in the way. I think one of the photo quotes that I've put up this week is about, might be coming up next week actually, around how I believe that confidence is like the sun. It's always there. It's just that we happen to have clouds that get in the way sometimes, that we can't always see it. So that's a real good starting point of understanding what your relationship is to whatever you perceive confidence is, and looking around your beliefs around it right there. And I know that Rob, who's on the call as well, joining us live, he actually posted a question earlier around, are babies born with confidence, or is it something that that you create? Is it something that is nurtured? And there is research at the moment out there that talks about the confidence gene, and states that we have, and if my memory serves correct, there are 4, I believe, confidence genes that we're born with to varying degrees. But there's no concrete evidence that if you're born with those genes, either 1 or 4 of those genes, that you are going to become confident. Because if you're then not in the right environment to bring those to the fore, to actually help nurture those to grow, then actually they may not happen, they may not come to fruition, and you may not experience confidence. But equally, you can be born with a very little amount of those confidence genes, but if you're in an environment that nurtures it, that supports and gives you that kind of opportunity, education and understanding around confidence, then it can flourish. So interestingly enough, it goes back to that old conversation, how it must be as old as time, as to whether it's nature or nurture that helps somebody be the way that they are. And again, it's been proven that there's a combination of both. As I've just said, I believe that it's something that we always have, but it's about all the other stuff that gets in the way that can stop us. It's kind of like layering things up. And as Rob and I have spoken before, I know that you would refer to it as jackets, the jackets that are put on, that cover up and can get in the way of us experiencing confidence. So I hope that's answered your question, Rob. Do let me know down below. Remember, to keep those thumbs and hearts and laughter and whatever else coming in too. So, and I think I can, I didn't know I could do that. I've just learned something new. The other question that came in was around, a very beautifully complex question around confidence. And it also touched on kind of what I think is a bit of a buzzword at the moment, which is resilience. And resilience is something that a lot of people are talking about. And I think one of the reasons resilience is becoming a big topic, a conversation topic, and especially in the workplaces, I think, because people are starting to realise that they need more than just relying on externals to be able to get through in life. They're actually wanting to build up their own and connect with their own internal resources that I believe that we all have. We just maybe haven't been taught or haven't been in environments that can help us connect with those. So this particular person was asking me a question that kind of connected in, and I probably will do a confidence question time at some point that talks more about resilience and confidence and how they interlink and how you can help yourself where that's concerned. But at this moment, what this particular person was talking about was how she feels that she gets confidence knocks and is impacted by other people and by situations, and that impacts on how she feels. And sometimes it can take her weeks to get over things, or it sometimes can take days, but nonetheless, she always feels like she tends to retreat and hide away and disappear in a way that doesn't necessarily support her be the way that she wants to be. And so I was asking, well, you know, why is it, or how is it that I let all of that external world impact on me, and can I do anything about it? And the answer is yes, because actually it's our interpretation of the external world that creates our experience. So if you think about it this way, we could have all of us that are watching this, all of you that are watching this either live or as the recording, that you're all going to take something different from it. You're all going to have different insights, different thoughts, different comments, different questions, different beliefs, all sorts of different stuff, technical term, going on about this particular video. And even my experience is going to be different. And yet we're all kind of in the same experience in some senses, but we will all interact with it in a different way. And that's the same thing on a day-to-day basis with people as well, because we can interact with others. And the kind of analogy I use in my Truth About Confidence talks is, if you imagine it this way, that somebody, you're at work, for example, and sat at your desk, happily working, doing whatever you do, and somebody that you really like, you really get on well with and connect with at work, comes up to you and says, you are doing a great job and I really like working with you. And for the majority of us, we kind of flop up our feathers and feel good and kind of, oh, cheers, thanks very much. We might feel, if we're English, we might feel a bit uncomfortable with it taking the compliment, but nonetheless, we kind of accept it from that person and put it into our little basket. And then about 30 minutes, 40 minutes later, whatever it may be, somebody else comes up to you at the desk, and it's somebody that you don't particularly like. For whatever reason, you don't enjoy them, you don't really connect with them, you don't resonate with them, whatever it may be. And you are able to, they come up to you and they say, you're doing a great job and I really enjoy working with you. And they walk off. Now, the majority of people, not all, but the majority of people kind of are a bit reluctant to it. Why are they saying that? What's going on there? What are they after? Or I must be doing a good job if they have said it. And it's interesting because two people could be saying exactly the same thing and even using pretty much the same tonality. But if we've got one person that we really like and one person that we don't like, our meaning to those words, that what we add to that, is totally down to us, and therefore our experience of whether we go yay or woo about it is going to be our interpretation, our meaning that we add to it. So to go back to the question that I was asked about it, is that what we need to do, the person actually said, oh, Jules, can't you make this into a pill or a magic wand or a perfume that I can just wear so that it can just happen? Yeah, if I could have done that, I would have done that by now. I haven't yet found the way or the resources to be able to do that. I apologise. I'm working on it. But actually, it's part of our evolution. It's part of our process, actually, to recognise that this is something that we need to learn. And when you can recognise that it's our interpretation of the external events that impacts us more than anything else, that's when whatever's on top of the confidence, we can start sort of peeling away and actually letting that go even more. So I'm hoping that's, I know she can't be on the call live, so I can't ask her whether it's answered her question, but what I can do is say that you know who you are. I'd love to know if that gives you some insight. If you can put some comments once you've watched the recording, that would be fantastic. So I could go on for at least 3.5 weeks around this topic, and there are so many juicy bits of information that can make a difference to understanding confidence and genuinely and authentically living with confidence. And I'm not talking about that pumped up shit. I'm talking about, and I'm not even talking about that fake it stuff, or I'm talking about the real stuff where you end up feeling relaxed and comfortable and calm in your own skin, regardless of the circumstances that are going on outside your life. So what I would invite you to do is think about what it is that you want to gain from this. I'm going to be doing these every couple of weeks. If I can do them more, I will. If there's a desire for them, I'll do them more. At the moment, I'm going to be doing them every couple of weeks. I nearly said gardener's question time then, but it's actually more confidence question time. So the next one will be on the 20th of June. So make sure that you get that one in your diary, unless you're out doing some wonderful summer solstice dance somewhere, which I may do after I've done the live broadcast. But really think about your confidence. Think about what you need. What does it mean to you, and how best, with all that's going on, can I really serve you from this place as somebody who's been studying it for 10.5 years, who has come from a place of not having confidence and actually feels, I am blown away with some of the situations that I face and how I deal with them in a different way now. And I just want to do whatever I can to impart that and support other people. So, yeah, it did, Jules. Thank you. You're welcome, Rob. Leanne, hi, Jules. I'd be interested to hear how fear and worry links to confidence. Is there anything that links them? Thank you for that, Leanne. It kind of actually goes back to the question that I was just talking about with regards looking at how we interpret a situation. So, firstly, I would look at separating fear out for a start. So, because I think there are two types of fear. We've got the primal fear, which is where our reptilian brain kicks in. You know, if there was a loud explosion that went off, or a loud noise and we didn't even know it was an explosion, then we are going to become alert. We are going to want to fight, flight, or freeze. Basically, we're going to want to do something about it, and that fear is required. That fear is useful. That is what helps us to stay alive. Its main function is to keep our survival there. Anything, if your life is genuinely not in danger, if there's no explosion, if there's no saber-toothed tiger, if there aren't any guns, if you genuinely are not in danger, and I've said this before, and I know people think I'm bonkers when I say it, but I actually do it, that if I'm feeling fearful, then one of the things I will do is stop and check. Have a good look around me. Is my life in danger right now? And the moment I can kind of say, well, no, it's not, then it then goes into a recognition that it's going in the other camp of fear. And the other camp of fear is where it's psychological. It's our thoughts that are creating that fear. Now, they can feel just as real as an explosion or a loud bang or whatever it may be. That fear, it can feel just as real. I'm not denying that in any way, shape or form. But when you can start to look at breaking it down, and there's so many different processes that I do working with clients one-to-one, and peeling that back so that you can understand it for yourself in a different way. But what I can give you right now, Leanne, is to, first of all, is that first part, is check in and ask yourself, am I safe? Once you get the yes, I'm safe, then, and it goes into the other one, then you can ask yourself, how am I describing this situation right now? Or whatever I'm fearful of, how am I describing it? What story am I telling myself? And just by doing that, what that can then get you to recognize is kind of like the stuff that we make up, the shit that we make up in our heads. See, I could have got really fearful about that noise that just went right there, but I know it's the ghost walk guy shouting at people, so it's absolutely fine. But when you can recognize the stories that we're making up, when we can get really clear that it's our thoughts, our beliefs that's making up this fear, and whilst it does, as I say, it feels really real, it also gives the brain the opportunity to kind of take a step back and go, oh, I'm making this up, aren't I? And it will give it the opportunity to have a different perspective. And as I say, there's various other processes that I would then look at going into with you where that's concerned. And it depends on your terminology around fear and also around worry. Worry, to me, in a very simplistic way of looking at it, I view it as a rocking chair. Worry is like a rocking chair. Now, if you're sat in a rocking chair and you are sat on one side of the room and you want to get to the other side of the room, but you have to stay in the rocking chair and your bottom has to stay seated, is it possible? Well, the answer is yes. But it's going to take a lot of energy and a lot of strength and a lot of motion to get from one side of the room to the other. It is possible. And you're possibly going to feel quite exhausted by the time, depending on how fit you are, by the time you get to the other side of the room. And it's the same thing with worry. People think that worry is necessary in order to be able to achieve things. And whether that's about, you know, well, where am I going to get my next job from, or sorting out the money, or holiday, or the children, or my health, or relationships, worrying about it does mean that you're giving it some attention and you could be doing something about it. However, it's going to be a lot of your wasted energy and it's going to be darting around. The focus is, you know, keeping a rocking chair straight to get from one side to the other is not easy. So it would be really useful, Leanne, to look at what really define down for yourself. What do you mean by fear? What do you mean by worry? And then for the fear side of it in particular, is link it back to, well, is my life in danger? The answer for most of us, the majority of the time, if you're, to be fair, if you're on Facebook, then we're pretty lucky, we're pretty safe. Because most of us that can access the internet in this way are living in a very elite way compared to the rest of the world. So therefore I would then look at the other side as to what stories am I telling myself about them. And how does all of that link to confidence? Well, that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of confidence is always there. I believe it's always there. These fears, these worries and every other stories and thoughts and all of that we're telling ourselves is what's going on top. That's what's layering on top, which is then making it harder for us to access the confidence, which I do believe is still there. So Leanne, I hope that answers your question. Please do let me know if you're still there in Portugal. Yeah, just let me know if that works for you. Now, it's coming up to 7:30. I realise I've been waffling now for around about 30 minutes. So, and I know that there's various people that have been jumping on and off at various points. So do let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to know what your views are on confidence. What beliefs that you have about it. Let me just check back in with Leanne before I wind up anymore. Thank you, Jules. I'd heard of the reptilian brain stuff before, but handy to know how best to give yourself a check and ask the question. Love the rocking chair analogy. My mum has always been a worrier, and I've picked up a lot from that, so I have to try to get out of that thinking. Yeah, and that's the challenge, Leanne, is really and truly the majority of the stories that we tell ourselves about situations, whether it's worry, whether it's stress, whether it's whatever it may be, fear-based. So often we've learned that from the people, those well-meaning big people that we grew up around. And they learned it from the well-meaning people that they grew up around, and so on and so forth. So it's no one's to blame. I don't believe it's their fault. But it is about checking in that even though I've learned this behaviour, do I have to do it? And I think the great analogy, great little story with that is the little girl who's watching her mum cook a leg of lamb, basically, and before she puts it in the oven, she chops off 1 inch from one end of the lamb and 1 inch off the other end of the lamb. It's not a good analogy for a vegetarian to be using, but anyway, she puts the lamb in the leg of lamb in the roasting tray and puts it in the oven, and the little girl says to her mum, why do you chop 1 inch off either end? And the mum thinks about it and says, do you know what, I'm not really sure. So I've always done it because that's how Grandma taught me. So she phones Grandma and says to Grandma, why do we chop 1 inch off at each end? And Grandma says, you know what, I really am not sure. Let me ask my mum. So she goes to her mum and says, Mum, why do we do that? Why do we chop 1 inch off either end before we put the lamb in the oven? And great-great-grandma just looks at her and laughs and says, because that was the only way the leg of lamb could fit in the dish. And whilst that we can laugh our heads off at the stupidity of that, how often have we done that we've got a behaviour or a thought process or a belief system or a value system that has been handed down, and it's like this script or this story that we keep buying into over and over and over again until we until we stop and say, hang on a second, is this mine? Do I want it? Does it serve me? Have I got a roasting tin that's actually big enough for the whole thing to go into? Or do you choose to become a vegetarian? But that is that thing that we do so often. So thank you for sharing that, Leanne. And I hope my little rant at the end makes sense and is helpful. So the whole purpose of why I want to do these, and I am doing them on the cuff, there is no kind of script, it's what you guys are after, it's what you need, is that I want to be of service as best as I possibly can to a community that seems to be, and a group of people that are, it's not just the group of people on here, but people who are crying out for wanting to have even more confidence, to experience the world in an authentic way, and not feel that they've got to pretend or fake it or fluff it up, because that feeds something else that I talk about a lot, which is the imposter syndrome. And when I found that there was a way of being able to do it through Facebook Live, I just thought this is just perfect. It's a way of being able to do it that I can make on a regular basis. So it's every 2 weeks. The next one will be on the 20th of June. And the whole purpose of it really is to help you. I want to start a confidence revolution. And what I mean by that is having people who genuinely believe in themselves, genuinely have an understanding around confidence, so that they don't feel like they have to fake it, so they don't feel that they can pretend or have to pretend anymore, that they really can find a way to be comfortable and relaxed in their own skin. And I'm prepared to do whatever I can to be an advocate of that revolution, or evolution, as I've started referring to it. So please make sure that you post your questions below. Look out for the next one and the posting of the next one, which will be on the 20th of June. At any point, please feel free to share these videos, by the way, once they go recorded. You can share them. Message me direct if you have other questions that you want to ask. If you want to find out more about how I can be speaking about confidence at your gig, your event, at your meeting, whatever it is, or even if you want to find out more about coaching. But more specifically, really, it is about understanding confidence and how you relate to confidence and what I can do to support you with that. So I'm trusting that you found this evening useful, and it's given you some insights, maybe giving you some light bulbs, even if it was just a rocking chair or a leg of lamb. Ghost Man is just heading down with his bell, which is what you can hear in the background. And I'm going to say adios, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Thank you very much and take care.